Hi Austin, so I looked over your lesson plan and here's my feedback. This is very thorough. It's very thorough. You've got a ton of examples and you broke them down well, so that's really good. All right, so wait one sec. Okay, so we're looking at ninth grade. Excellent, good. So you chose the evidence outcome, right? Especially looking at voice and tone. Sorry, I'm still a little stuffy this week. All right. And I like your students will be able to, and your students will understand. I think these will be able to's are very specific. I think they're measurable. I think they're very objective, so the kids will know specifically what you're expecting of them and if they've met that objective by the end of class. And I think that's really important. It helps teachers and kids alike. Okay. Your assessments are well aligned. I like the informal structure of your formative assessment, asking kids to talk about parts, and then the formal assessment so that you can gather and look at their independent writing. Okay, good. All right, so your context or hook, right, asks them to talk about what they were doing last class with dependent and independent clauses. Okay, all right, and your definitions right here, be careful about using the word phrase. A phrase is actually a group of words that does not contain a tense carrying verb. So a dependent clause is a group of words that contains a subject and a tense carrying verb. You have to separate out clause from phrase. So double check those definitions just as you're moving through this, okay? All right. So sentence patterns that use clauses, right? And I think you're still reviewing from yesterday. All right? And then here's your prompt. What language do you use to convince your friends or parents to do something? You might want to refine this word just a little bit. Do you want to talk about what types of words do you use, or how do you speak, or something like that? Because what language do you use to convince your friends and parents to do something? I'm not sure that's going to speak to a ninth grader, right? Think about Doug Lemov's double planning, right? Write this. Then go back and pretend you're a 14-year-old boy. Put yourself in that mindset and read that question and go, what? Okay? So good. You have guided notes and worksheets for students to fill out. I love this, right? Who has a voice? Excellent. What about voices and grammar? Nice. Okay. And again, your definitions of active passive are almost correct. Active voice is the normal formation of a sentence where the verb it's not that the verb refers to the subject noun, because that's true in active and passive. It's that the verb makes the subject noun function, or makes the subject noun act. And in passive voice, the subject noun is acted upon by a direct object. Okay, so just double check those really carefully, okay, to make sure that content knowledge is in there accurately. All right, so be plus then, be plus VED. Okay, great. Make sure you grab all the conjugations of be. It's am, is, are, was, were, be, being, and been. Okay? All right. So here's your past example of a passive sentence. All right? Now, here's a question I have for you. Okay? You say, example passive sentence, the ball was thrown at me. Type of sentence clause asked as a question, simple, independent. How are the kids going to know that? Okay, I know that up top you reviewed independent and dependent clauses, but remember that what you need to do is create that question answer flow for them so that they can specifically talk about, you have to create the question answer flow for them so that they can specifically repeat that question answer flow every single time. So if you want to say, here's our sentence, the ball was thrown at me. Now, I want to know if this is an independent or dependent clause. If someone, and I want to know if it's a simple or a complex sentence, okay? You need a kid to walk you through that question answer sequence, or you need to walk the kid through the question answer sequence, okay? You need to walk the kid through applying this, or the kid needs to walk you through applying it. Again, when we're lesson planning in this fake world, that is methods, I want to see that your content knowledge is solid, and I want to see how you'll be interacting with the students. Just asking a question isn't enough. Ask the question and then show me that you're prepared with the backup plan, that if you get crickets and blank stares, you can say, Okay, everyone, every time I have a sentence, I start by finding the what and the what, the subject and the verb. Excellent. Where's the subject? The ball. Where's the verb? Was. Ooh, don't miss that verb phrase. Oh, was thrown. Excellent. Good. The ball was thrown at me. What's at me? Oh yeah, prepositional phrase. Good. So I have one subject, I have one verb. I'm not going to let the prepositional phrase distract me. I've got a simple independent sentence. Okay? I want to see you script all of that out in here. Okay? All right. So then you walk them through the subject and then the verb. And then you have right here, why is it passive? Because be plus then. You lost me just the tiniest bit here. Maybe you didn't. I don't know. For some reason I'm struggling in this. Maybe because the script isn't in here. And so I'm struggling to like hear your voice saying this to the kids. Because you're right, it is passive, right? Be plus then, was thrown, find the subject noun, ask who did the action, okay? The you is not implied in here, okay? The subject is just plain missing. The ball was, or excuse me, the agent of action is just plain missing. The ball was thrown at me. Subject, the ball. Verb, was thrown. There's no implied you in this sentence, okay? So, you know, active passive is tricky business, okay? So just because I'm harping on you about your, you know, the content knowledge in here, don't take it bad, right? This is the first lesson plan that I've looked at for you. And I want to make sure that I just want to make sure that you feel super confident in your content knowledge and that it's accurate in here so that when you roll it out in front of actual students, you're good to go, okay? All right. So then you have, don't forget to prompt the kids to take notes, right? So why would you use active voice? You say it provides more clarity. Not really sure what that means or if the kids are going to get what that means, so extend that definition for me right here, okay? And then, yes, it can intentionally remove or obscure the subject. The window was broken versus I broke the window. Excellent, okay, good. All right. And good. And I love that you put it in context here. We want to use passive voice a lot of times with scientific writing. It may sound more polite or formal, less aggressive and accusatory. Perfect. I love the fact that you have that piece in there for the students so that they know specifically why they're using it, where they're going to be using it. Okay. When you reference guided notes in here, make sure that you do an attachment or an appendix at the end that has those guided notes. Okay. All right. So here's a sentence for modeling. Our goal is to turn it into a passive. Review the procedure. First, right, is it active or passive? No, make them do the question-answer flow for you every single time. If you drill that question-answer flow into their head, then it becomes a skill for them that they can take out of your classroom and use on their own and feel secure in, okay? So turn all these into questions, okay? So we're going to turn this into a passive. All right, someone, what do I do first? Oh, I start by finding the subject and the verb. Right, subject is what? Verb is what? Excellent. This is, when I walked my dog. Hold on, you just tripped me up really quick because I'm thinking about transitive and intransitive verbs, and I'm going to leave that alone. Okay, good. And then turn it into the passive. You specifically have them walk through the formula. Perfect, okay? My dog Stinky was walked by me. Perfect. Verbal check for understanding so that they're working back and forth between you and them, you and them. Perfect. Guided practice, putting it on the board, and then asking them the questions, what do they want to do, what do they need to do first, okay? And finding the parts of the sentence again. Perfect. I love the fact that you're aware that, like we want it to work at this point. It may not. I need to have some more examples. Wonderful. Throwing cell phone off the cliff is perfect. The kids will, like you said, kind of get into that and be all literal about it. Group the kids up and have them work. Perfect. I love the fact that you're thinking about modification based on student-specific and individual needs. That's very nicely done, okay? Then as you have them come up to class, come up to the front of the room and talk about their sentences and switch them, between active and passive. I love the fact that you have established some ground rules that they can use, they should be adhering to, and then you move them into the class discussion on why do we want to use active, why do we want to use passive, okay? Excellent. And then I think you had, good, good. Here was this nice piece at the end, right? So now that we've talked about all this stuff, I want you to think about this, right? How do these communication skills empower an individual, right? A scientist needs to speak with passive voice, and a scientist can't be a scientist in his community if he doesn't know how to do that, his or hers, right? And so I love, love, love the fact that you have that in there, okay? All right, I gave you probably way too much feedback in here because it was your first lesson plan. So listen to this a couple times. Tell me what you think about it, okay? Overall, Austin, this is really nicely done. I like the flow. I like the fact that you give them tons of examples, that you walk them through it, guided practice, guided practice, guided practice, before you ask them to do it with their groups, and then asking them to present so that they're presenting, so that the kids are hearing the information from each other and that you can check on that. Very nicely done, all right? Just a few little tweaks, a few little content-specific knowledge things. Other than that, looking really good.